There are certain changes to a Golf Pro's bag they will make this week to attempt to win the 150th Open. And we're going to show you exactly what those changes are. Let's do it, and let's do it now. Hi everyone, my name's James Robinson and welcome to this YouTube channel. Guys, in today's video we are discussing what changes Golf Pros will make in their bag to attempt to win the 150th Open Championship on the old course. Chris, how are you?
Very average, yourself?
I'm living the dream.
In this rain?
Yeah, it's raining actually now. But, guys, they are going to make a load of changes. We've got loads of golf clubs in my bag that I'm going to show you. I'm going to start off with this. This is a tailor-made UDI. Now, depending what golf manufacturer they are contracted to, there will be something around this, won't they, for most of the brands?
More than likely, yeah. So they're going to probably put in something like this and take out the Holy Grail 7 wood.
Potentially.
Potentially. And put this in, again, they're going to be, it's running, it's firm and fast, they're just going to be able to chase that down there. A lot of people will be using this on the first.
Yes, they will. So we're going to play the 16th hole here at Woolley Park Golf Club with this club and a number of other clubs, guys, so stay tuned. We also have the launch monitor set up, so we're going to show you how to play the stinger that the guys will be playing off the first tee. That's your ball, isn't it, Chris?
That's why I was going to tell you that it's my ball. It's also my tee, so don't break it. Right,
so first of all, guys, we're going to stand a little bit narrower. You don't need too much speed here to play the stinger. Ball middle of the stance, handle forward. I'm going to swing a little bit shorter. And the big thing I want to do here is create forward shaft lean at impact to deal off the club. Let's see, first of all, how far this carries and how far it runs.
You broke my tee.
I did break your tee. That was a little bit toey, but that's going to bound down the fairway. I don't think that's pitched too far, but I bet it runs forever. Guys, on the launch monitor, that only pitched 135 yards. That's the normal golfer's pitching wedge or 9-iron, but it's run out to 185 yards. So if you're wanting to play a 200-yard shot and see where it lands, that could be the shot for you. I didn't strike that too well, but it's still out there. We haven't got too far in. Chris, let's see what you can do with this club.
It's very much open conditions, rain and wind.
Yeah.
Right, so again on this kind of shot, like James said, narrower stance, but then also the key thing here is getting your chest to turn, so your chest turning will take the loft off. If you try and do it with your hands, you're going to miss hit it and you may hit the dreaded shank.
Don't say that.
So back in the stance a little bit open to make sure it starts on line and then feel nice and wide.
That's a great shot.
And feather it on down there, nearly killed a crow.
And immediately there, guys, you can see on screen Chris carried that 168.5 yards and a total of 235. So two very different kind of shots there, but two shots that are finishing around the 200 mark. Yours will be a little bit more.
Yep.
And it's keeping under the wind and in play.
Yeah, nice and low, and in these conditions you're going to get a lot of run, like we said. So at your golf course it's just going to keep on going and going, and it might be a better option than hitting your driver, which then runs into trouble.
Yeah. So Chris, you've caddied at the home of Golf St Andrews in the Dunhill Links. Not quite the Open Championship, fairly different conditions, but what changes did you and Jid make in the bag when you did caddy for him at St Andrews?
So that's in the winter, so it's obviously showing the conditions. It was a lot greener, it was a lot softer, there was a lot of rain. It wasn't sunny Scotland on that occasion.
No.
So we didn't really have a 2-iron in, so although it was windy, you know, on a couple of days were all right. So we did have obviously a 5-wood in there instead, which is a similar kind of loft, because we could land it higher and softer into the greens. The greens were a little bit more receptive, but that shows the difference in the time of year. So in October, a lot different to now. So again, wedges wise, it was still pretty firm around the edge of the greens, so similar to what we've got in the bag, there were some changes made.
Yeah, we have some quite special clubs to show you guys in just a second. And speaking of Jigger Thompson, he was ping at the time, and these are ping as well.
Oh yeah.
So this is typical of what you will see this week at St Andrews, a bare pan lie. And Chris, they will change so many things in the wedges.
Yes.
It's frightening, isn't it? So when you walk up and down the range, guys, on practice week for the Open, you'll hear the grinders going off. The grinders in every van, they'll be taking bounce off there so you can get that club under the ball. Or, like Ping have done here, they might just release a T grind, which is 6 degrees of bounce. So Chris, I'll give you the Pro version I've got the Glide 4.0 and you can see that is a 6 degrees of bounce. Now this is an amateur golfer's nightmare generally, isn't it, Chris? You look, there's just not a lot of bounce on there at all, 6 degrees. And what that's designed for is ultimate versatility. So I can open that club up, the leading edge still sits low to the ground, so I can get underneath the ball if I want to send a high one in here. Say we're going over the road hole bunker, not quite the road hole bunker, but they make a good job of it to be fair, and need to get that up in the air. I need to get the technique absolutely perfect here, otherwise I might blade it. There's every chance I'm going to duff it because the bounce isn't there to help me. Let's see what we can make of it. Try and get this up. We're going to try and land it just over the bunker. We're not going to go for the flag, no, because we need to get the loft on there. We're downwind, which makes it even harder. Can we get that ball up in the air? No. And that is a prime example of trying to play. That was a terrible shot. I don't mind showing you that on camera, guys, because it shows just how good and how skillful the tour pros are. I'm gonna have to have another go at that in just a second. At that kind of shot. Oof, that was horrible.
Horrendous. But that shows obviously trying to open up this club with not a lot of bounce. That can obviously get the leading edge slightly off the ground when there's nothing underneath the ball. So here most pros are going to go lower bounce, the same as this, but they're going to play square. They're going to play, not really be opening up the club and just letting the club, obviously the loft on there, do the work. So from there they're going to play much of an easier motion.
Oh, how good is that?
And just be able to get the ball launching with the loft, a little bit of spin on there, new grooves, but playing everything square. So they're going to change things in the bag, whereas in the winter, I know it's a 56, but they might go to something such as this, which is a 56, but is a wide sole, which is perfect for amateur golfers on a normal Portland course, with 14 degrees of bounce. A lot bigger, obviously bounce on there. You can see the differences. You can see that's the difference of what the pros are going to take into account this week.
Actually, I'm not going to win in the Open with a short game like that, Chris. Let's have another go.
It wasn't your finest shot.
It wasn't my finest. I want to have a bare pan line, not much underneath it. You're saying play the face square and then just release it like a normal shot?
Yeah.
I need bounce on my wedges. I said it was most golfers' nightmare. That wasn't even too bad. That just dug into the turf. If I have a go with the wide sole now, wide sole black ball, because that's all I've got left in my bag after those.
That's a true amateur.
Yeah, terrible shots. So if I play that same shot with this, the bounce is going to help me. Exactly the same. That landed exactly where I wanted it to, and that just shows how much bounce can properly be your friend. Right, we're going to jump in this cavernous bunker now. That's why I put the ball in there, really, just to save time. And we're going to see who can play a shot closest to the flag with these tall wedges. Probably not going to be me on today's standing. Right, guys, so you can see here we are in probably the deepest bunker in Yorkshire, I'm going to say. I don't know any deeper than this.
Potentially, yeah.
Maybe one or two at Ganton. But we're going to use this T-grind wedge, try and get the ball up in the air as quick as possible. This is potentially where they might not want to have the bounce taken off. Because in a bunker, you still want that bounce to get underneath the ball, don't you? If that leading edge digs like it did back in the fairway, I'm going to be in big trouble with this revetted face. Right. Do you reckon we can get all the way back to that flag, Chris, from here?
No.
Oh. Oh, I'll tell you what.
Maybe.
Go in.
Oh. That's a good shot.
So the key there is to keep your speed. I'm talking like I know what I'm on about now because I've just played a worldie. But keep the speed, maintain the loft on the club, and just hit behind the ball. So you're going to hit the sand. The sand will cushion the club and slow it down. That's why you need to keep the speed, because if it slows down and there's no speed, it's too slow, you'll duff it. Like Chris is going to do now.
Potentially. So this bunker obviously got a lot of sand in there, so like James said, you're wanting to use a bounce. If you're playing links golf, it might be a little bit firmer underfoot, or if in your bunkers there's not too much sand, because we know that's a common complaint of everyday golfers. But then what we want to do is probably get the face a little bit squarer. So if you're playing where there's not much sand and it is firm, then we can square it up, so something with less bounce is going to be good. But in this, like James says, we want to open it up nice and wide. We want to keep the speed, weight left, and hit it with plenty of speed.
It's a valiant effort, Chris. It's just nowhere near as good as mine.
No, on this occasion you might have beat me there, James, but yeah, plenty of speed. We've got to use the bounce. You can see this is probably the hardest kind of bunker shot. A pot bunker with a lot of sand is what most pros hate.
Now, one thing you may see, guys, in the Open as well, when a ball hits a reverted face, generally it just drops down and from there you're going to be really struggling. You'll even see people maybe having to play out their own footprints this week, which will be a nightmare. But one thing you won't see a pro do from here is try and take it to the flag. So they may even be playing out backwards to try and get the ball back in play, and then from there just try and save a bogey or maybe a par if they've tried to go for a par 5 in 2. So one final thing you may see the players do at the Open when they are on a mega bare pan lie and you don't want to risk duffing the ball like I did earlier on, is get a fairway wood out. You'll see here, this is as bare as it comes. This is actually just all worn away. We're just on a passage from a green to a tee, which they do have at the old course. You may see guys put this, but something with a little bit more firepower behind it just makes it that bit easier to play that kind of shot there. Chris, you love that, don't you?
Delightful.
How good
shot.
was that? I wouldn't usually play that shot, but that's as easy as it comes. The reason for that, we spoke about a lack of bounce on the wedges. Imagine how much bounce the 3-wood has on it there.
So a lot of people will use this club. So they'll use an 8-iron. Everybody goes to a bumper run, they go to an 8-iron or a 7-iron. Whereas James's club is going to be much easier to hit and be more consistent. But I can still play this. I'm going to be a little bit taller, a little bit closer to the ball. I'm going to grip it like my putter and treat it like that. So make a putting motion. But you can see there, we're relying on a bounce. Whereas with James, we can get it rolling. We don't know what that's going to land on, if it's going to kick right, if it's going to kick left. The 3-wood did win there. But you see there's 2 different options depending on which one you want to go to. But this is the hardest option.
And this certainly isn't the option. I was actually quite happy with that. Guys, that's just a quick insight into what the players will be doing this week at the 150th Open to try and win. Make sure if you do get a glimpse of someone's bag on TV or if you're going to watch, take a look in, see what your favourite player has tweaked and changed. Get in the comments below what would you change if you had access to a tour van. Apart from that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I think I beat Chris there as well after that horrendous start. So apart from that, I'll see you all at the same time tomorrow. Bye!